Here we have the neuron, a nerve cell called a neuron. Three basic parts of a neuron: your cell body, which has your typical parts of your cell like the nucleus that you see here, your dendrites, which are coming off of the cell body here, and then the axon, which starts here and then continues here. It's just cut open here so we can see inside. But if you can imagine taking this whole piece and simply attaching it here to this one, this is just a continuation of this. So this is your axon, and then this is the continuation of the axon all the way through here. So here in the cell body, as we said, we have the nucleus. In the blue here we have the missile bodies, which are essentially the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the ribosomes of what we saw in cell anatomy. In a neuron, they're called missile bodies. And then here you have the axon terminal, or otherwise known as the trigger zone. Not axon terminal, axon hillock, but more often now we just use trigger zone. Again, either term axon hillock or trigger zone. This is where the cell body meets the axon, and that's your trigger zone that you see here. Coming down here around the axon, we have the myelin sheath made up of Schwann cells. We know that these are Schwann cells because they are simply wrapped around one individual axon as opposed to multiple axons. So this is your Schwann cell that you see here. This is a Schwann cell, this is a Schwann cell, you know, because each one has its own nucleus. So again, the wrapping of the Schwann cells around the axon makes your myelin sheath. Then down here, we have the same type of connective tissue wrapping that we saw around muscle cells, we have around nerve cells as well. So around the neuron, this is not the endomysium as we saw in muscles, but the endoneurium, because we are around a neuron. So this is the endoneurium that you see here. Lastly, this is a little node between the Schwann cells here. Those would be your nodes. And over here, this is showing you the axon terminals of the previous neuron passing information to the dendrites of this neuron. So these are the little axon terminals that you see. These are not part of this neuron. These are parts of the previous neuron. But if we follow this axon all the way out to its end, it would have these same axon terminals at this end of the neuron passing to the next neuron. So again, these are not part of this particular cell. They are the ends of the previous cell as the axon terminals. So here we would have a little synapse where you have the axon terminal of one neuron passing its information to the next neuron. You see it looks very similar to what you learned in your sliding filament theory and your neuromuscular junction, that same axon terminal, but this is, since it's from a neuron to a neuron, this is a synapse. So we see that axon terminal coming in here.